We generally seek to understand an object by simplifying it, inquiring it into its essential substance and its essential behavior. By essential substance, we mean the individual components constituting it, and by the individual components constituting it, we mean the smallest indivisible unit that makes up the object. So, for example, an atom is known to be constituted by smaller particles, one of them being the electron, and the electron is identified as a fundamental particle. That is, it cannot be subdivided into smaller units. Then you have got the nucleus, which is made of protons and neutrons, which are known to be constituted by even smaller particles called quarks, which are then identified as fundamental particles. Then we seek to understand an object by inquiring into its essential behavior, which can also be thought of as the individual laws that govern its behavior. So, for example, if you throw an object off an aircraft, it will fall to the ground at a certain rate, and it will move in a certain way. Now, to understand why the object is moving in the way that it's moving, it's important to understand the object is not only being acted upon by gravity, it's also being acted upon by the air through which it's falling. It has some buoyancy because of the density of the air. It's experiencing drag as it's falling through the air, which is retarding its downward velocity. Now, there are many different objects, and these different objects have got many different attributes, and there are many different laws governing the interaction of these objects, governing their behavior. But the one attribute that is fundamental, if we were to go down and simplify all substances and all laws, and therefore get at the most fundamental essence of any object, the one attribute that is most fundamental to any object that is simply that it is. Before we discuss any substance, we assume its being. Before we discuss any law, we assume its being. Therefore, we are arguing that the being of an object is its most fundamental attribute. And therefore, it's the one attribute that in the wide variety of attributes, in the wide variety of substances, it's the one attribute that connects all discoverable phenomena, regardless of its substantial definition, regardless of the laws that govern it. You could place the object in the domain of physics, you could place it in the domain of biology, chemistry, you could place it in the domain of psychology, you could place it in the domain of religious studies, you could place it in whichever domain you wish. The one attribute that unifies all these objects is their being, which we assume, and one can ask the question, are they really, trying to avoid the word exist, do they have being? But see, even for ontologies that claim what we perceive as being is only an apparition, if it is just an imagination, the imagination has to be for you to discuss it. If it's just a dream, the dream has to be for you to discuss it. It's impossible to discuss anything without assuming its being. So we can't run away from being and have any meaningful discussion. Now, here's the claim. The claim that we're making in this channel is that if we properly describe being, if we properly understand it, then we will have a seed that will grow into a tree whose branches will account for all discoverable phenomena. So you've got all these different phenomena that, as we've said, you could domicile into these different disciplines, some of which appear to have no cross-pollination at all. And all these different branches of one reality, which all converge onto a trunk, which trunk is the most essential attribute, that is the being of this object. And we are making the argument that if we properly understand being, we ought to be able to derive from that one attribute, this one phenomenon, the grand phenomenon called being, we ought to be able to derive from it all other phenomena. Whatever it is that is on the ontological landscape, we'll be able to anticipate it logically from this one theory of being. Now we are claiming then that there is contained within the Bible an accurate description of being. We are claiming that biblical ontology supplies to us not just the most accurate, but the only comprehensive ontology. And therefore we are claiming that in positing a biblical ontology, we will also be positing a biblical theory of everything, a theory from which we will be able to derive the attributes of all discoverable phenomena in whatever specialized domain those phenomena are presently discussed, be it physics or biology or chemistry, etc. Welcome to the channel Biblical Ontology. My name is Mojivane.